Welcome to MetaTrader Educational video series. My name is Mohammed Azim and this video is brought to you by TucsorFX.com. Inside this video tutorial, I am going to talk about built-in MetaTrader 4 line studies for the sake of chart analysis. This is the cursor which is by default selected. If I move my cursor along the screen, you could see the values changing right at the bottom of this horizontal scale. Now click on View and select Data Window. Let me zoom in a little bit as well. Now if I select cross here, see what happens. You can see the values are changing inside this data window. Okay, so if I want to see the opening price, high, low and closing price, I can just place my crosshair right on this candlestick. Next we have line options. This is the vertical line. Select it, click over here, and you can see this is a vertical line and it is currently showing the date and time as well. Next one is the horizontal line. It is showing the value of Euro USD currency pair. Next we have trend line. I can draw this trend line. This trend line is sloping upwards, and I can also draw a trend line which is sloping downwards. A trader could draw a trend line with an exact angle. In order to draw a trend line by angle, click on Insert, Lines, and select Trend Line by Angle. If I click over here and you see the angle of this trend line is 24, you can also add trend line by angle inside the line studies bar. Just right click over here and select Customize. Next you could see available line studies. Here's the trend line by angle. Click on Insert, and now you can see is the trend line by angle. You can also rearrange these tools. For example, I want to move trend line by angle near to my trend line tool. So just click trend line by angle, select up, and this button is actually going to move this tool a little bit closer to the ordinary trend line. Click on close, and now I have trend line, which is a simple trend line, and I can also draw a trend line by angle. If you do not see line studies bar, or if you have accidentally closed the line studies bar, then you can easily get it back. Let me close it first. In order to get back the line studies bar, click on View, next select Toolbars and click on Line Studies. Now I got my line studies bar. Let me place it back to its place. In order to delete one line study, just double click and select it. Now right click and select Delete. In order to delete all of these trend lines, just right click, go to Objects List, select and delete, delete, delete and delete. Okay. You can also draw a channel. This is the next tool. Next we have Fibonacci Retracement, and there's another one, Fibonacci Expansion. I will explain about these in next lesson. Now if I draw a trend line, there are multiple settings that I could change. In order to make changes, you need to first select the trend line and then change the trend line properties. I am going to share with you two different methods to open trend line properties. First method is to just double click via mouse and select a trend line. Next, right click and select Trendline properties and you get Trendline window. Second method is to right click anywhere on a price chart and select Objects List and then select a trend line and then select Edit button. In this way you get the Trendline properties window. Let me now change the trend line color. Just select it via double click, right click, Trendline properties, and I'm going to use a blue color, and I want to change the style of this trend line, so let me use a dotted one. Just click OK, and now I've just changed this trend line. I want my trend line to end right over here. So how I can fix this? Just right click, go to Objects List, select the trend line, click on Edit, and inside the Parameters tab, this is the option Ray. Uncheck it, click OK, close, and now the trend line has reduced. Now I can easily drag it way over here. I want to change the width of this trend line, so just double click to select, right click, Trendline properties, and I am going to change the width. Now if I do this, automatically the style changes to default, which is the solid line. That's okay. Just click the OK button, and now I got a trend line with desired width. If I change the time frame, let's switch over to a 4 hours chart, then I could easily see this trend line in a 4 hours chart. Now I do not want to see this blue color trend line in a 4 hours chart. I only want to see this trend line in a 1 hour chart. So in order to do this, just right click after selecting the trend line and go to visualization, uncheck this show on all time frames and only check mark H1, which is the 1 hour chart. Click OK. And now if I switch over to a 4 hours time frame, now the trend line is still present on the price chart, but it is invisible. You can't see it. Just right click, go to Objects List, click Edit, Visualization, and now I'm going to select again Show on all the time frames option. This is the default option. Okay. Now you can see the trend line on 4 hours chart. The main purpose of using line studies is to analyze the price chart without using any technical indicator. However, in order to correctly draw trend lines and other line studies, a trader may need some practice and experience. This concludes our lesson. Risk disclosure, end user license agreement. I hope you have enjoyed this video tutorial. If you need more trading information, visit tusarfx.com. Thank you.